Welcome to another edition of Paradox TV. Paradox TV, yeah. What do we want to talk about today? I want to talk to you actually about house prices in the UK. House prices where they're saying because of the uncertainty whether Britain was going to come out of the EU or whether Britain was going to stay within the EU, it's caused a flux. It's caused a flux, and basically that's why house prices are falling apart, house prices are going down, no one wants to buy properties, etc, etc. Just so you know, it's a lie. Just so you know, you're being manipulated. So what I want to do is I want to just take a couple of moments just to explain exactly what has happened. Now I knew, before I started doing this show, I knew that when home information packs were going to come in 2008, and they started with 4 bedrooms and above, when it first came in, 2007, when it first came in, hardly any 4-bedroom homes came to the market. Because when you tax people in a certain way, what happens is they don't do it anymore. And what happened was that basically that caused a trend when no one, our country is built upon a foundation of the housing market. There's retail as well, etc, etc. But actually, the majority of people that I know that make their money make it through the housing market. So they make it through people borrowing loads and loads of money. And then all they do with that money is they go and buy a property. That person buys a property, and the whole circle, the whole wheel works until it starts falling off. So 2008 hit. So we're now being told that the reason why the UK property market is in a state of decline is because Britain voted to leave the EU and the whole circumstance around that. So I want to just give you a bit of confidence, really, in Britain. I want to give you a bit of confidence to show you that actually it's a big fat lie. So just so you know, a couple of factors have happened which are outside our control. So what I want to do is I want to take you back to last year, when we had the general election. The whole of the market fell apart because Project Fear came in and said if you vote in Ed Miliband, the world's going to end, pretty much. And you know, actually, that was probably a very accurate statement. This year, we've had, Ed Miliband fronting the Labour Party. Anyway, this year, we've had, obviously, the UK or the EU referendum here in the UK. So we're being kind of told, there was a lot of Project Fear. David Cameron said, that if we leave the EU, your wife could divorce you. If we leave the EU, your hair's going to fall out. Anything. No fact. No one was told how things were. It was just fear, 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 fear. And you know what? You stood up to it. Well done, UK. But a couple of things have happened which have kind of gone off the radar. Now, what happened was in 2008, interest rates came down. So interest rates came down, which meant that there were loads and loads of people with loads and loads of money, and it was pointless taking that money, putting it in banks, building society, stock, shares. It was pointless. So all people started doing was they started drawing down that money, buying properties and renting them out. Now, this is my opinion, and, this was a kind of feeling for it. So to give you an idea on that, so before 2008, so up to 2007, the property market was roughly made up of somewhere in the region of 80 to 85% residential, 15 to 20% investment. Then what happened was earlier this year, the Chancellor, whose name was Mr. Osborne, decided that he would introduce a landlord tax or a second home tax, which basically meant that if you were buying a house for £250,000 and you were buying it as your first home to live in, you'd be paying somewhere in the region, you'd be paying £2,500 for the privilege of that. Yeah, you're paying 2% of that value. However, if you were buying it as an investment or you were buying it as a second home, you would be paying 3% of the total amount on that property. So if you were buying something at $250, you were paying £7,500 in tax, which is massive. So interestingly enough, what's happened, hardly anyone is buying buy-to-let properties. Hardly anyone is buying second homes. So why has the market started to capitulate? The market has started to capitulate because they brought in a tax which has restricted probably between 40 to 45% of the market. Yeah, so now in my personal opinion, yeah, the market's made up of roughly 55 to 60% residential to 40 to 45% investment or second home. Which means that if you're taking away 40 to 45% and you're chucking it over there, what do you think's going to happen to the market? What do you think will happen to the market? They also, a couple of months ago, Mr. Cameron came out and said, you know what, we're going to stop the dirty money. Yeah, if you want to buy in the UK, you've got to prove where that money's coming from. Why that wasn't like it before, who knows? But it turns out, you know, that's caused a bit of a rift in London, because what would happen in London, people would take dirty money, they would put it into the system, and what would happen is, obviously, it become clean, and they would buy big, massive houses for millions and millions and millions of pounds. This is mainly in London, and they would just leave them empty. Yeah? Free up all that money. They'd be able to then sell those properties months, years later, make an absolute fortune, and that stopped. So, in summary, we've had a lack of landlord investment, second home buyers come into the market. Major issue. You're actually wiping out between 40 to 45% of the market. Yeah? And to top that, you've also had the restriction of dirty money coming into a system, which, look, that's not a bad thing. So if you want to know why the property market is starting to fluctuate, then look a bit deeper than them going, oh, do you know why? It's because it was all because of the EU referendum. It's a lie. Go and check out the facts for yourself. Understand that when they say something and push you in a direction, they want to put blame on something else. And it's not true. Much like the Mr. Osborne saying that he was going to cut the deficit by 2020 or whatever it was. It was never going to happen. What, Mr. Osborne? What are you going to say? £300 billion a year, are you? You're going to say £300 billion a year. Yeah, which is the amount we borrow every single year, or have been borrowing every single year on average. It was never going to happen. So what he's been able to do is use this EU referendum. Say, oh, it's because of the EU referendum, because we voted to come out, I'm not going to reach my targets. And now he's gone off in another direction to officiate somewhere else. So here's the point I'm trying to make. When the media say something to you, when the politicians say something to you, all I'm asking is you just dig a bit deeper and find out exactly where that story has come from, and could there be some other feature to it? Could there be some other reason to it other than just what they tell you? Any comments you want to make on this video? Love to hear them. God bless you, because the truth matters.